everyone, and welcome to the Trending in My Life podcast, episode 92, Sabotage. So there are all kinds of sabotage that we encounter in our life. Some is self-sabotage of our good intentions. We may have set goals. We may be working towards them. We may be doing quite well. And then circumstance seems to sabotage our good intentions. For instance, I'm guessing quite a lot of people set a goal in January to lose some weight or to eat healthier. And then along comes Easter. Now, if you're lucky, Easter will come later in the year and come in April. So you've had a good sort of 3.5 months to get into a routine and to refuse to shift from that. But this year it's early and Easter arrives in April, right at the beginning. So you might still be at that point where you be a little bit wobbly and a little bit tempted. And honestly, the Easter eggs in the supermarket are piled so high in the aisles. I mean, I'll walk down an aisle and either side of me are boxes and boxes and boxes of Easter eggs, all different types and kinds. And the strongest person in the world would be tempted, because either way you look, there are so many varieties. There would be something that you went, I would love to try that. And don't get me wrong, I think Christmas and Easter are good times to say to yourself, you get a free pass. Whatever goal you've been trying to do, especially if it's weight and food related, you allow yourself a little wiggle room, a little leeway to have a treat. But honestly, there's so much of it at the moment. I've never seen so many different varieties of eggs. Maybe because it is early, they're pushing it even harder in the supermarkets. But yeah, there is a lot of eggs. And the prices have come down a lot as well. So, you'll look at an Easter egg and think, I could have an Easter egg instead of a bar of chocolate. Like a big bar of chocolate, but even so. You would be tempted and think, they're not much money, I'll have one of those, it won't hurt. And I think if you are able to make it a sort of mission to choose your favourite and have one at Easter, that's great if you're trying to lose weight, especially as they knock them down even more in price as we get to Easter weekend, which, as I'm recording this, is only in about 8 days' time. You can have that treat and you can still stay on your diet. But it's unfortunate, a lot of us that are trying to use weight, sugar is our go-to, and if sugar is your go-to, you can't have one Easter egg. You're going to want more Easter eggs. That's the problem. That's the sugar hook, isn't it? That's so difficult to break. And if you've broke that over the sort of new resolution time of year, it's such a shame to break it. And it doesn't mean you can't have a treat. You could make yourself a healthy dessert or cake or whatever, but, within your parameters of what you're allowed to eat. But that's about sabotaging your goal that happens through circumstances. I mean, yes, we give into it, but that is a circumstance that just happens. Now, another thing that can happen is self-sabotage. This is when, you go on a date, right? But in your head, you haven't exactly let go of a former partner, one that you sort of idealised in the time since you broke up. And when you're chatting to this new person, you keep referencing that other partner. And there is nothing worse than being on a date with someone who talks about someone else. And you might even not realise you're doing it. I had a friend once say to me, you went on a date and you sat X in the middle of the table between you. And when he told me this, I thought, no, I didn't do that. And then I went back over the conversation and thought, yeah, I did do that. And it's like, I think once you get talking about someone else when you're on a date, it's almost like you're trying to convince the person you're with that they should be like this. This is what you want. And you get so carried away, you don't even realise what you're doing. And let's face it, if that relationship had been perfect, you wouldn't now be single. You wouldn't be in the situation where you're going on a date. And I think, especially if you're speed dating, that can happen because you've only got like a few minutes to talk to the person in front of you, and that person can be talking about someone else. You can ask them what they've been doing lately as a question, as a icebreaker, and they mention something, and then launch into a whole thing that, oh, they went with so-and-so, and it was great because he did this and that, and it was so funny, and straight away you've crossed them off your little card and think, no, they haven't let go of the person that isn't with them anymore. So yeah, you can self-sabotage as well. I'm in a house which is rented, but it's only been rented for a year. And I found myself walking down the street where I used to live and walking past the house where I used to live. And it's been empty for a while. And when I walked past yesterday, there are new tenants in. For some reason, I suddenly thought, the curtains were drawn, and I thought, oh, I can let go now. And I thought, so were you actually holding on to the previous house? And in that house, although the house had problems with it, the garden I sort of built from scratch and absolutely adored. And I realised that I often do that when I move from place to place. I think because I'm moving within London and it's easy to access all areas of London with the public transport, I've done that before. The house before the house that I left, I had walked past it before. I had gone back to that same area and gone to nearby shops and stuff and thought, I've walked these streets for months and when I lived there and it all feels familiar. But that means you're not fully committed to the house you're in. And I think the problem with that is you're never satisfied with the house that you're in. And it doesn't matter whether you rent or you buy, you may feel that way. And we've had some problems with the house we're in this week. And I think that triggered it. It was like I was walking past the other house and thought, oh, it wasn't really that bad there. And, that problem and that problem wasn't so bad. And the problem we've had with this house here is resolving. We're getting there. But because there's an issue, it makes me think more about living somewhere else. And in that vein, I'm not settling to doing the garden. And the gardening is very calming to me and relaxes me. And I'm looking out on the back garden now and thinking, there's so much that needs to be done here. Look, it's all a mess and that bit's overgrown and stuff. And why aren't you getting out there and doing it? And maybe you should even think about mowing the grass now that the weather is getting better. And I'm suddenly seeing it with different eyes and thinking it's not about buying plants and planting plants and making everything look pretty. Because you're going to have to move. You're going to have to let go of this. And because you really like the last garden you made nice, you don't want to put yourself through that again. But what I'm missing is the fact that the here and now is that I would get pleasure out of doing that. I would be relaxed and I would enjoy looking at what I'd done, and I should do more of it. I have done bits in the front garden, but the back garden needs quite a lot of work, and I haven't really touched one side of it at all. It was only the realisation that I could let go of the old house that made me think, hang on a minute, that means I'm sort of half clinging to the past and not looking forward. And looking forward is the key in so many forms of self-sabotage. If we are sabotaging our good intentions, our way forward to improve, to move ahead, to go from this to that in life, so much of it is linked with holding on to the past and not looking to the future. So let's look to the future, because yes, I know that I'm moving from this house in about a year. It's because it's so expensive. It's because we rushed into moving here because we had a quick move date from the landlord of the old place. That's why we're here. But I should make the most of it. I should enjoy this garden while I have it. I should plant things regardless of whether I will see them grow in the future or not. They will look nice each time I look out the window, and that will make me happy, and happy now. So that's what I should be doing. I mean, I too have been trying to lose weight. So at Easter, I am going to choose one Easter egg, and I am going to thoroughly enjoy eating it, but I'm not going to eat any more. And I am a real sugar addict that it's then difficult to get back to not eating sugar. But I thought people eat Easter eggs on different days of Easter, don't they? Sometimes they start on a Friday, which is, then you've got Saturday and Sunday and Monday. I can see that leading to 4 Easter eggs. But equally, if you waited till the Monday, you would be back at work on the Tuesday, so then you'd be back into routine, so it wouldn't be quite the same. Or I plan on doing some day trips over the Easter weekend, so I thought I could eat it on the Friday and then get back into routine if I'm out and about on the Saturday and Sunday. Or I could just divide that Easter egg into 4 and only eat that amount of chocolate on each of those days. So if you find yourself self-sabotaging or sabotaging because of circumstances, look forward. Look at what you've got in your future, things that you're working towards, things that you want, and that the change that's coming will be very positive. And focus on that. Don't look backwards. If you're dating, maybe you meet someone who isn't everything on your ticky list, but they have potential. So give them a break. Try a few dates. See if it improves. See if they relax enough to show you their real self. And that might end up being the one person that you would really like to spend time with. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, and see you next time. And in the meantime, look forward, look to your future, and think positive. Bye for now.